Hello, everybody. You're very welcome joining us here from the Four Corners Festival for our nightly prayer. This is, Kiran, what day is this in the festival? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This is day 6 of the festival. There you go, day 6 of the festival. And we finish each of our days in the festival with this review of the day. We'll review the event that happened this evening and then some time in contemplative prayer. So you're all very welcome, whether you're joining us live here in our Zoom room or whether you're watching it back on our YouTube channel. So, day 6. Karen, maybe you would let the folks know what happened this evening in the festival?
Well, it was Dana Masters who sang and was interviewed by Steve Stockman, and I caught it through the Facebook Live, and I caught most of it. It was incredible. So, I mean, I'm sure it was even more amazing live. I was very impressed with the streaming quality, and just their performance was absolutely incredible.
And Karen, who is Dana Masters, for those who maybe didn't see tonight? How could you introduce her?
I'm not sure if I really just discovered her tonight. I think she's incredible. She's I guess she'd call herself a blues singer. And she is from North Carolina, but has lived in Northern Ireland for about, I think, 12 years, did she say, and has really made this her home, and used to sing with Van Morrison, and just, even surprisingly didn't consider herself a musician until she was, in a band with Van Morrison for 7 years, and then finally accepted that maybe she was actually a musician. But just had such a wonderful way about her, and just a real wisdom that came through in what she said, and also in her songs too. So Martin, what about you? What did you think about the performance that you saw also on the streaming?
Yeah, Kieran, you've covered it very well. I suppose I'll maybe just add in one more thing, which would be the very pleasant surprise we got at the start of the evening, which was one of our volunteers, Miley, who's from Taylor University, again in the States, was doing the introductions from a Four Corners point of view. And then she, much to my surprise, she actually interviewed the US Consul General, Paul Narayan, who was at the event. And could I suggest, if you haven't seen this, it's actually worthwhile going back to look at the whole thing again, including that very powerful interview with Paul and what he had to say, and the whole sense of how we can learn from one another as well, and just some of the issues that are still to be tackled. But there's also worth bearing in mind that a lot of progress has been made as well. But just to take up your point, streaming quality really good, and yeah, I just love the variety of picture right throughout the whole amazing evening in that conversation with Steve and Dana.
Fantastic. Yeah, I thought it was just superb. Just to clue you folks in, Steve Stockman was interviewing Dana on the theme of the festival, about dreams, and certainly in this 60th anniversary of Martin Luther King's speech on I have a dream. And what struck me about Dana's story was the amount of strong women in her life who fought the good fight, I think is how she described it, against racism and against segregation, and just kept that fire of hope and unity alive. I thought she spoke so movingly about it. And at the end, Steve asked her, what would be your dream for this place? Because she now says she's from here. Mm-hmm. I think she said, I've cast my lot in with you here. She's one of us. And he said, what's your dream for Northern Ireland? And she said something like, my dream is that your children's children will tell stories of how you made sacrifices so that their story would be different than yours. Mm-hmm. So that we would stop telling our story of war and division, and that our children's children might have a different story. Wow. What a way to finish. She was superb. Well, Ruth has put the link in there if you want to look back on the event. Well, thank God that was today in the festival. Martin, thank you for joining us. And now we're going to settle down, bring ourselves into the present moment, and finish our day in prayer. So I invite you to get comfortable on your chair, to close your eyes if it's your thing. If not, you might just focus on a spot in the room that you're in. Allow it to be a sign that you are in this present moment. The past is gone and the future is in God's hands. We exist in the now, in the here and now. So we bring ourselves into the presence of ourselves, of each other, and of God living, breathing through us, with us, and in us. Allow your breathing to slow down for a moment and find a comfortable rhythm of deep, slow breaths. Only in God is my soul at rest. In Him comes my salvation. He only is my rock, my strength, and my salvation. My stronghold, my Savior, I shall not be afraid at all. My stronghold, my Savior, I shall not be moved. Only in God is my soul at rest. In Him comes my salvation.
Thank you, Jan. Listening to Dana Master tonight, I was inspired to revisit an American spiritual writer named Howard Thurman, and probably a lesser known figure, but lived during he was a contemporary of Martin Luther King Jr. and is known as a minister and philosopher and religious theologian, the theological leader of his time. And there's a piece that I'd like to have us kind of contemplate on for a little bit. I'm gonna put it up on my screen, though. It's a lesser known one, and I just want to make sure that you catch all the words, and we'll take our time with it for a few minutes before we close. How good it is to center down, to sit quietly and see oneself pass by. The streets of our minds seethe with endless traffic. Our spirits resound with clashings, with noisy silences, while something deep within hungers and thirsts for the still moment and the resting lull. Over and over, the questions beat in upon the waiting moment. As we listen, floating up through all the jangling echoes of our turbulence, there is a sound of another kind, a deeper note, which only the stillness of the heart makes clear. It moves directly to the core of our being. Our questions are answered. Our spirits refreshed. And we move back into the traffic of our daily round with the peace of the eternal in our step. How good it is to center down. So with these words of Howard Thurman, we will center ourselves down and sit quietly and see ourselves pass by the streets of our minds that are always seething with the endless traffic, the noisy questions, and the clashing of sounds. But we listen deeply for the hunger and thirst within us. We're hungering and thirsting for the still moment. And any questions or worries or anxieties that are with us tonight, we let them go. We hand them over to God, knowing that God will lead us through whatever we are worried about. And we listen in this still moment. And we listen for that sound of another kind, a deeper note which only the stillness of the heart makes clear. It moves directly to the core of our being. Our questions are answered. Our anxieties are laid aside for now. Our worries are in the hands of God. Our spirits are refreshed. Tomorrow we will move back into the traffic of our daily round. But for now, we're at peace with the eternal. The peace of the eternal is in our step. How good it is to center down. And we'll just take a moment to settle into that center just a little bit more and to be in that stillness together. Amen.
Amen. Oh, thank you so much, Karen. That was much needed at the end of a busy day. Thank you very much. And thank you for that permission, that the Spirit moving in you this evening and giving us permission to step out of the traffic. Oh, thank God. Let's step out of the traffic. Let's end our day in peace, and let's sleep well, and let's dream God's dream as we sleep. So, folks, that is the end of our day, the end of our night prayer. Join us again tomorrow at 10 o'clock on the same link. If you click the link, you'll also see this back on YouTube, and you can watch other events on our YouTube channel for Corners Festival. Tomorrow we have 3 different events, but I'm going to spotlight one of them. It's the Wonderful Wander. So will you keep in your prayers a group of 90 of us, 90 of us who will be walking in 2 groups of 45, and one going clockwise and one going anti-clockwise around Belfast city centre, looking at marvellous and wonderful things about the history of Belfast and the history of Christianity in Belfast and much more. They'll have poetry and we'll have good crack as well. So if you're not coming along on that, then please keep us in your prayers. So all it is left for me to do is to say good night initially to those of you watching back on YouTube. And in a moment, Ruth's going to stop our recording. And when she does that, I'll invite those of you who are in the Zoom just to stay on the Zoom, and we'll say good night to each other before we finish. So the first thing to do is to say good night to all of you who are watching on YouTube. Good night and God bless. So Ruth, if you could stop the recording.
Good night and God bless.